Hey guys, so I'm gonna go and tell you about just what you're thinking, whatever your thoughts are. Usually it always comes out somehow in different forms. So some people, they'll keep it in and they think that nobody knows, but in actual reality, they do know because you go and express it by several various ways on how you behave. So even if you don't say anything, you can go and pick up on people on what they're actually really thinking. So, there are people that they'll have these secrets, but you can pick up on it. Usually I can pick it up. I'll be like, they're hiding something, but they don't want to admit something to themselves. It's just obvious. I think that whenever I think of a certain thought, it does show up, but it shows up not immediately, probably in a day or two, a week, a month, a year. So for an example, I went and I'm at this place right now. This place isn't treating me the best, the management, just in general. They don't care about how things are here. So for an example, right now someone is scratching up cars, ruining them. I talked to management and they didn't even care at all. And I asked, well, if they start to go slash everybody's tires or set the whole place on fire, like all of the cars, would they do anything? The answer is no. And I was kind of annoyed. I was like, can you do cameras? They were like, no. I was like, okay. So I got a little frustrated. And I have not said this out loud, but there is another place that I've been really wanting to live very badly. So there were kind of two things that I really wanted. It was either live at this place or have a house. And I've been wanting a house for a really long time, but with the market of how it is, it's just, it's frustrating. And you keep seeing those numbers. And it's just how it is, the economy, the market, and it is what it is. And in this day and age, you have to just make more in general, figure it out. And a lot of people, it can be feeling very crippling just to live at an apartment. For an example, the prices have gone up significantly, just in general, everywhere. And people get really depressed over how everything has risen so much to the point it's taking their entire paycheck. And it's very frustrating. I totally get it. And the paychecks aren't keeping up with it. And, it's just such a basic thing is to have a roof over your head, And not everyone has a place to go, as backup, when it's rising. So it can be a very frustrating thing. So, and then add on top of how the market is, the housing market. And, young people, back in the time, could get a house and not have the best job ever. Now, people with really good jobs are still struggling with just regular apartment rent. or getting a house, period. So it feels very dead end like when you just look at it. And, I don't think that when you're young, you don't envision thinking just basic needs such as having a roof over your head is going to be such a difficult thing, to the point it's crippling, and it ends into depression, and you're just frustrated and wondering what to do wrong. Now, for me, when I'm seeing this with the prices, tells me that I need to work harder. I need to figure out something. I need to go and try harder. I need to go and explore more and figure out how money works. I can't just go and keep working my 12 to 15 hours. Obviously, it's not working. I thought about it a lot, and I was like, just isn't good enough. And I think that a lot of people thought that if you worked 8 hours Monday through Friday, you would be okay. But right now, it's not good enough. So just a basic need just keeps going up and up. Anyway, so this place is not treating the residents that well. So we want to leave. So there's another place in the back of my mind that I thought about that I really like. It actually has almost everything that I want. It's small, and it's not a house, but it has the layout that I'm looking for. So because of these things that have happened and that push, now we're probably going to go to the place that I really want, and I can have my peace and quiet. So where I'm at is the street is right next to where I'm at, and it is so loud, so loud, and I can't sleep because ambulances are going off 24/7, and a lot of people have died right where that street is, because it's so busy, and there's a midsection, and people are in a rush a lot of the time, especially on a busy road, and so they kind of don't calculate the time to go and get in the middle, and so there's a wreck, and several people have died actually from it. And so you constantly are hearing ambulances and sirens and fire trucks around the clock where I'm at. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I would love to go over there. And my husband didn't want to move, but then after, being treated not great at the place we're at, he's more pushing to leave. And so, in the back of your mind of what you're thinking, you haven't really said out loud, usually it's going to happen without you really realizing it until it could be a year or so. And so that's kind of what happened to me, where I think it's coming up, by the time we leave, it's 3 years. So I think it's been about nearly 2 years that I wanted to be there. And so I'm super excited that possibly we're going to go there, and I can have that peace and quiet, and I can sleep, because I keep getting woken up at 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning and hearing something, and there's a ditch where I'm at, and so when there was somebody where their tire came off and they ended up like, it was just like the way the tread was. It's just old. So it came off and then they ran into the ditch. I think it was like 4 or 5 a.m. And so we had to get out and see if they were okay. Because who else is going to respond if something awful happened? Like, they can't call someone because they got passed out. So, yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, whatever your thoughts are, even in the back of your mind, and you haven't said what it is, it usually is going to come back. And when you're thinking something in the back of your mind, in some form, it's going to happen. So there was another time in my life where I was driving and I was doing delivery apps, and just in general, everything was going good. And I don't know, but I had this random thought in my head. I was like, that's so weird. Nothing has happened to go and add chaos in my life. I'm not even kidding, guys. I think it was like a couple days later, oh my gosh, I had my car went out entirely, and we were in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, what the? And I was so frustrated. I was freaking out, actually, and I was like, oh my goodness, I was so scared, and we had to go through hoops that time. And I actually talked about this on my TikTok, where when my car went out, I ran into a mechanic in Winnie, Texas. And this guy scammed me like nobody's business. I was so angry. He ended up taking parts out of my car and charged me $5,000 for it. And he almost killed me. He said it was done, and I drove off, and I got stuck in the middle of the highway, and I freaked out, and he didn't care. He almost killed me. I told him. He didn't care. I went and said I wanted to take him to court, and everyone talked me out of it. But this guy literally almost killed me and scammed me out of $5,000. And that added so much chaos in my life. I was so stressed out. This is actually around the time when I was in the middle of doing my, I think I was in between stages of trying to get my life together. And, this awful thing happened. And then that's when we went through some things, and then we came over here. And that really did add chaos in my life. And so I really suggest, guys, do not go to Gonzo's automobile shop, because wow, that guy, he does not care about killing people. But yeah, I think that whatever thoughts that we have in the back of our mind, somehow it does appear. And it comes in different forms, guys. Like, it could be a human being. So I think that if we are looking for a certain figure in our life, without even knowing it, it does appear. So let's say if you have a parent, they're there, but they're not all the way there. Then you go and look for that in a person later on in life. And you go through all these things, and you learn that about yourself. And you're like, oh my gosh, I was looking for a parent figure when you didn't even know it. Or when you go and think to yourself, at one point, I don't know, I dropped a lot of my friends. I don't know. Over time you change. That's just how it is. You just change. It's normal. You evolve. Anyway, I wanted a friend, and they showed up, but they ended up not being a good person. And it was just a lesson to learn that, you know, you need to be careful about who it is. Or you find something about yourself, such as you think that in your mind, like if you have scarcity mindset, you're gonna go and find someone that's gonna teach you a lesson about it, and it's gonna be a painful lesson. It's gonna suck, and you don't even know it. You have no idea because it appeared in a different way. I actually dealt with someone that I felt was taking all my resources. I wasn't seeing it at first. It took me a little while, and then I was like, oh. And so that taught me something. I didn't know I had that till someone went and came in my life to teach me, oh, that's not the way you want to live. It's not fun. Or if you're looking for some kind of way to mend some sort of friendship, relationship, and it's a very tumultuous kind of relationship, like with a family member, well, someone else is gonna come in and teach you that they have something similar, a similar kind of relationship with family, and they're gonna tell you all about it. And you think in your mind at first that it's just you, but then you realize, oh, someone else has that kind of relationship with their family. You try to understand what a family member is doing and why they have this certain hatred towards you. You don't get it. And you always keep asking yourself. You know, sometimes you just have to go and realize that it's about them. You didn't do anything. It's just about them. And they need to sort out their issues. And it's best to just stay away. Yeah, I dealt with that. You know, family member telling you how much they hate you, how much they want you dead. And it's very hurtful, and it's not normal for someone to say that. It really isn't. And they say this all their life. You know? And then they go and try to be your friend later. And you're like, so just know that whatever you're thinking, even in the back of your mind, and you never say it, you keep it buried, somehow it's gonna show up. Some kind of situation, some kind of being will show up to teach you something. I used to think that I kind of had this, I don't know, I had this way of thinking that I had like a black heart or something. I was like damaged, like some damaged goods. And because of just things that happened, and you can't seem to understand it, and you don't you can't really go and tell someone because they don't understand it themselves. They haven't experienced it. And, you know, I mean, I had this thought, but I didn't really say it out loud because you know, I don't really act like that in real life. I have a very, oh, it's getting a little bit, darker. It's, oh, my eyes are trying to adjust to this. But yeah, I mean, you try your best all night to try to figure it out. Why they hate you for no apparent reason. And it's just, I thought the world was very gray and dim, kind of sad internally, but on the outside I'm a very bubbly person, so you wouldn't really think that that's the way I think in my mind. And I think that, you know, a lot of strangers in general, I'm talking about just strangers, guys, where they would treat me pretty well, say really good things to me, tell me that, you know, I'm light to them. Someone told me, I'm not even kidding, this is probably one of the biggest compliments I ever gotten. So I was working and I was trying to help them, and you know, they were struggling in general, and they told me that I was a godsend. I was like, oh wow, is that really what someone really thinks of me? It really surprised me. It's actually pretty recent. I was like, wow, I never viewed myself in that way. I didn't think what I did, I mean, I knew it had meaning, but I didn't think that someone would appreciate it. So yeah, you just, you know, people have told me and asked me, why are you doing what you're doing? You're better than this. You're smart. You have so much more to give. I look at them, I'm like, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. People have told me that I'm going to be rich one day. I was like, wow, yeah, I would love that. So I can go and do all the things I want to do. You know? We all want to be viewed as, you know, we have something to give. We have some sort of talent. We are of value. We all want to feel that way. And a lot of strangers have told me amazing things. There's one told me that it was a client, and I told her a little bit. I wasn't all of it, but a little bit of my ideas, because, you know, I mean, not many people want to hear about my ideas. I've been told a lot I'm pretty stupid. Anyway, I had this idea about, it was, what was it? It was, kind of making a VR situation of what is it? Of vacations. So, you go, and let's say you go to the Four Seasons, and they made it a VR situation, and, you know, there's golfing there, and it would be for people that are that can't go and travel. So instead, it'd be a VR situation. And I told her that. And, you know, I think it'd be amazing for if there was that kind of thing to get people to feel like they're out. And what it does, it uses the 5 senses kind of thing, the VR way. And it'd be a building where it can go and shape shift kind of the exact layout of it. And I thought it'd be really cool. Anyway, she told me how amazing that was and how I'm the type I can do anything. She was actually amazed by it. And I was like, really? Because I get the word I'm stupid all the time. Or my ideas are foolish. So I just kind of keep it to myself. Because when we are told that, we just don't say anything. So I want you guys to know that whatever thought that you're thinking of deep down, it's always going to appear in some form. It could be a being, a situation, a sign. So I wonder if you guys have ever thought about that. We beings are just extensions of thoughts. So are situations.